in the new situation that is post-lockdown period due to COVID-19. Now I invite Dr. Rajesh Babu, Assistant Professor in Business Administration, Magic Catholic College of Arts and Science, highlight in this welcome the online gathering.
Good morning, everyone. It is a great privilege and honor to welcome all the dignitaries who have witnessed in a memorable and successful online faculty development program. I extend my pleasure to the Almighty God for making today event a resounding success. With His blessing and grace, we are able to make this event a grand success. First of all, I would like to welcome our Secretary, Reverend Father Ackermans Michael, for his words of encouragement and his guidance. He provides excellent learning opportunities to the students and a great platform to bring out their skills. On behalf of Department of Business Administration, I welcome you, Father. Next, I would like to welcome our beloved Principal, Dr. Meenakshi Sundararajan, for all words of wisdom that radiated a source of energy, vision, commitment, and continued support. On behalf of Department of BBA, I welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. K. Jayaprasad, Assistant Professor in Management Studies, Guru Nanak College, Autonomous, Velachery, Chennai. He will going to present a speech on the topic, Journey Towards Rebuilding Business in the Post-COVID-19 Scenario. On behalf of Department of Business Administration, I welcome you, sir. Next, I welcome Head of BBA Department, Dr. Babima, for her guidance and moral support. I welcome all the staff for their valuable contribution, guidance, and encouragement in all our effort. Next, I would like to welcome all the participants for your cooperation in making this faculty development program a great success. I welcome on and out.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Meenakshi Sundararajan, Principal of our college, to facilitate this program.
Most respected Secretary of our college, Reverend Father Ackermans Michael, Dr. Bhavima, HOD, Department of Business Administration, Dr. Rajesh Babu, Mr. Janet Hansen, Dr. Amal, Mr. Thomas and Amal. Greetings to all the participants. Today, everybody knows throughout the world, COVID is the main reason for affecting the business development. Not only business development, but also world economy as a whole. Even many economics, what they have to do, what type of suggestion they have to give, discussion is going on. The impact not only on the economy, the impact is on people, impact on marginalized people. All the governments in the world are finding it very difficult to cope up with the business of which is affected by COVID-19. Actually, the topic selected by our resource person, Mr. K. Jayaprasad, Assistant Professor of Department of Management Studies. I know the Guru Nanak College. I visited that college 3 or 4 times. One of my friend, Dr. Nadarajan, was HOD of Botany working there. The principal of Guru Nanak College is my good friend. Actually, I am very happy to see Mr. K. Jayaprasad, Assistant Professor, Department of Management Studies, is going to deliver the lecture on journey towards rebuilding business in the post-COVID-19 scenario. I think this topic would be highly useful to, the topic would be highly helpful to the participants. I am very happy to inaugurate this program. Best wishes and best luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next, I invite our Chief Guest, Mr. K. Jayaprasad, Assistant Professor in Department of Management Studies, Guru Nanak College. He has a rich, diverse academic experience of more than 17 years in teaching economics and management. Now I I request him to deliver a talk on journey towards rebuilding business in the post-COVID-19 scenario.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for those kind words. Respected and most revered Father Erkmins Michael, Secretary of Nanjing Catholic College of Arts and Science, esteemed Principal Professor Dr. A. Meenakshi Sundarajan, and Dr. M. Pavima, Head of the Department of Business Administration, and faculty members of the department and other department of the college, learned colleagues from various colleges. I deem it as an honor to deliver this talk on the topic given to me. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for inviting me for the faculty development program and giving me an opportunity to talk on the topic, a journey towards rebuilding business in the post-COVID scenario. And I congratulate the principal, management and the HOD for giving me a topic which deserves critical importance at this juncture in the context of the present worldwide crisis. What started as a health crisis in one region has now has now become a global economic crisis, and it's turning to hit millions of people across the world. The current depressing situation demands us to build a strong society which is more sustainable than ever before. And before moving into the topic, I once again appreciate the initiative taken by the HOD and other faculty members of the department, which deserves critical importance. Okay, now we will move on to the topic. As your principal was rightly pointing out that this topic deserves critical importance. This topic deserves critical importance, and because for many reasons. Let me begin by saying the way the world does business is set to change drastically in the post-COVID lockdown. Once the lockdown ends, there are a lot of things to do, particularly for India. India would be hopefully in an advantageous position as countries may be keen to break free from China-dominated global business. In that case, India can gain from China loss if we are well equipped to face the new challenges that are going to prevail in the new normal. In the post-COVID scenario, business across the countries will reorganize the process and operations. A recent study revealed that out of the 56 firms shifting from China, 26 went to Vietnam, 11 went to Taiwan, and 8 went to Thailand, and only 3 multinational companies preferred India as the destination for business. That means we are still a long way to go in terms of reaping the advantages in the business after the post-COVID crisis. And presently, the reason being cited for not being India being the choice because of the higher incidence of tax prevailing in India, high electricity tariff, and poor regulation mechanism, and so on. And we have to turn India as an attractive destination quickly once the COVID is over by working on packages for promoting domestic as well as international business. That is vitally important. So in this context, this topic deserves greater importance. Moving on, we have never heard of the word global lockdown of business. Usually, in some parts usually previously, there were lockdown of business in some part of some regions in a country, or some of the countries few countries will be affected, and because of that a huge business loss will be there. And this is a massive extent. To summarize, the world has changed drastically in the past 3 months. A rare disaster called a corona pandemic has resulted in a tragically large number of human lives being lost. And as you know, as of yesterday, the corona disease outbreak has taken away 91 lakh 30,000 confirmed cases all over the globe, and it has taken away lives of 4 lakh 74,000 people all over the world. And as far as India is concerned, we have 1 lakh 84,000 active cases, and the death is estimated at 14,500 due to coronavirus infection. And this is a very huge number which we have never seen in the history. So it has changed the life in many ways. The crisis has forced us to think about how easily in this interconnected world a problem in one place in a country can spread throughout the globe. Hopefully, if we take it positively, and it will help all of us to recalibrate so that we can create a better world. Okay. Now you can see, as the countries implement necessary quarantines and social distancing practices to contain the pandemic, the world has been put in a great lockdown. The collapse of business activity that followed the lockdown is never experienced in the human history. And what we are experiencing now, we don't have any experience of dealing with such type of crisis earlier. So it is a new one. It requires new kind of treatment for revival of business, as well also for the health. And if it continues to exist, we don't know how long it will going to continue to exist, but if it continue to exist for another 6 to 1 year, and we cannot imagine what the crisis will bring out, or what will the implications of this global lockdown. And the immediate and direct effect of this lockdown will be widespread unemployment. Not only, it is not specific to some region or some country. All over the globe, there will be a huge problem of unemployment, which will lead to shortage of money. Shortage of money in terms of expenditure of individual as well as for the government. So there will be huge shortage of money, and that will also lead to decline in investment, any type of investment for that matter. It may be a private investment or the government investment. There is going to be no money to perform any type of investment. But actually, all over the world, most of the government is focusing on the health sector. There is a huge investment made in the form of health infrastructure. And the next one is there may be bankruptcies. Bankruptcies means the most of the businesses run on borrowings. That is, they borrow money for the working capital, they borrow money for the startup capital, and so on. And when this kind of situation, as you know, the borrower cannot repay the money to the lending institutions, and which may lead to bankruptcy. And at the same time, at this point of crisis, the banks or the other financial institution may not be able to take legal action against the borrower. So it will lead to widespread bankruptcy, and in turn, it will collapse the financial institutions of any countries. And as a result, the next effect is that the stocks piled up in terms of consumer durables and other products will reduce the prices. Deflation will be there, and the productivity will come to an halt, and already piled up stock has to be moved from the market. So there will be a deflationary situation, and which may lead to stock market crash in turn, and eventually that will also affect the export and import trade, and in turn we will also have currency value fluctuation. That is, we may run short of foreign exchange reserve, as there is a difficulty in international trade. We may run short of the reserves, which may lead to what is called, we may not be able to pay for import in terms of for over a period of over a long period of time. And these are the implications of the global business lockdown at a very large level. And next, now I want to focus, as far as India is concerned, some of the industries in the post-COVID period. There are many industries, as you might have read many newspapers and other things. For the past 3 to 4 years, the economy has been slowed down as far as India is concerned. But there are few sectors which were booming businesses in India, and which I have highlighted some of them. That is, one is the aviation industries. You might have seen any international airports in India all crowded like a bus stand or a railway station after evening 9 p.m. or something like that. And that is because the most of them started traveling for business purpose or some other leisure or something like that. One is there is a huge amount of multiplier effect that has taken place, and the people want to spend money on that, and the travel industry has expanded very wide in the recent times. And as you know, there are so many airlines which entered into the Indian market. And the second one is tourism and hospitality industry, and both are complementary. Hospitality, we mean that the what is called the hotel business and other business, and tourism, as you know, it is one of the, India is in the most advantageous position in Asia as far as tourism is concerned. And next one is construction business, and we are doing well in terms of construction. And there is a problem in real estate. Though there is a problem, India has done considerably well during the what is called before the COVID period also. And the automobile business is, as you know, one of the largest in the world, and we are the supplier of automobile to the entire globe in many forms. And the financial sector, and the Indian financial system is one of the thriving financial system. As you know, it is one of the highly regulated financial sector in the world, and whenever there is a crisis in financial system in other parts of the globe, we have proved that our financial sector is stable and strong enough to withstand any type of business downfall. Another one is the retail business. The retail business is another thriving area where the India is emerged as a great market. And India is one of the very few countries in the world where there exists a large scale retail business in a most successful manner. I mean that India, though our per capita income is very low, we are able to maintain a retail business on par with the developed countries. That is one of the greatest achievement we have made in the past 25 years. And now, if you focus, some of the common problems to all the above industry due to the COVID-19 lockdown is, there is a supply chain disruption. There is the movement of what is called, the transport is not there. As a result, adequate storage facility is not there, and there is a disruption is a supply chain management. And the other one is labor force. As you know, even within the country, there is a migrated labor force because of the cheap availability. So there is also disruption in the labor force, and there is a huge collapse in the demand. And because of the business lockdown, there is a cash flow problem for every organization existing in the country. Okay, the resources may be sustainable, or what is called, they can survive for another few months in case of a financially strong institution. But after 6 months, it's going to be a problem for all institutions. And these are the common problems. And now one by one, we will see how strong in India these industries are. For example, if you see the retail business is one of the pillars of its economy, and it accounts for 10% of its GDP. The Indian retail market is estimated to be at 600 billion US dollars, and one of the top 5 retail markets in the world by economic value. And many studies have shown that India is one of the fastest growing retail market in the world. By retail market, we don't mean that groceries and other essential items. Here the retail also include non-essentials item like consumer durables like color TV, fridge, washing machine, etc. And the other even textiles, dress materials. And we have retail for every segment. And summing up together, and every retail business was doing very well in India in spite of economic slowdown. And this, as you can see, after the outbreak of the COVID, the losses for the retail industry alone have crossed 30 billion in just 14 days. And the number is going on rising. Given the current scenario, the industry will take at least 6 months to get back on track in terms of cash inflows. But how many companies can actually survive this downfall for the next 6 months? It is assumed that the 6 months the downfall will continue. It may also take after that. And I don't know what is a guarantee that we will bounce back within a 6 months. And the next one is, and as I said earlier, one of the booming or prosperous business before the COVID-19 was the aviation industry. It was doing well, though there was an economic recession or something like in Asia and other parts of the globe. Our aviation industry was doing relatively well. India's aviation industry is expected to witness 35,000 crore investment in the next 4 years. It is estimated, but because of the COVID, there may be a huge decline. The Indian government is planning to invest 1.83 billion US dollars for development of airport infrastructure along with aviation navigation services by 2036. And actually, the outbreak of COVID, you can see the impact. The aviation industry will crash land with a revenue loss of 24 to 25,000 crore. And this segment will be the worst affected, contributing to 70% of the revenue loss. And apart from this, there are other allied institutions or organizations which are dependent upon the thriving aviation sector. For example, the catering, the housekeeping, the cargo services, the advertisement and promotion income, and the taxi services, the tourist agencies, the insurance sectors, and the fuel. All those things are interconnected, and this industry will also be destroyed over a period of time. And the aviation industry, as you know, the IATA, the International Airport Transport Association, has described as one of the fastest growing market in the world. The hub of nation aviation manufacturing is at Bangalore, and the recent UDAN, that is the regional connectivity scheme, is driving the growth of civil aviation and aviation infrastructure in the country. And as you know, the government of India has invested heavily in the infrastructure of this airport management, hoping that this industry is going to bring huge amount of revenue. As you know, we have a lot of what is called a lot of new airlines. I think about 86 international airlines are flying at present in India. Okay, the next comes the construction industry. The growth rate of construction industry across India was estimated to be 5.6% in terms of GDP from fiscal year 2015 to 2020, up from 2.95% from fiscal year 2010 to fiscal year 2020. 2015. That means you can see the number, it is really doubled. In January 2019, the Indian construction sector had contributed over 2.7 trillion Indian rupees to the country's GDP. This is an all-time high contribution recorded through the sector. And of course, we are telling that the construction business or the real estate business is not doing well. But if you look at the statistics, it has done relatively well during the 2019. And the impact it has created after the outbreak of COVID is that with the various restrictions put in the place by the government to control the effects of the virus may trigger shortage of raw material, manpower, disrupted supply chain, and further creating handicaps in performing their contractual obligation. And here the contractual obligations means that many projects are ongoing projects, and the buyer and seller, the builder and the buyer might have entered into some type of contractual obligations. That is, some of the projects are expected to complete in June, July, August, something like that. They were not able to perform the contract successfully, and we don't know what is called the damage or what kind of impact it is going to what is called in terms of cost to the what is called the construction business people. And apart from that, this industry is dependent on other allied industry. For example, the cement industry will be affected, iron and steel industry will be affected, bricks and stone, paint, glass and wood, and so on. And these are all also not small scale industry. These are all large scale industry. And if construction, one business is devastating or destroying many large industries. And I don't know what is the way out. We will see. The next one is another thriving industry, which is very interesting in India, is the tourism and hospitality. And Indian tourism and hospitality industry in India is one of the key drivers of growth. And Indian tourism has significant potential considering its rich cultural and historical heritage, variety in ecology, terrains and places of beauty spread across the country. And because of that, the tourism in India is able to create 4.2 billion jobs, which accounted for 8.1% of the total employment in the country in the year 2019. The number is expected to rise by 2% annually to 52.3 billion jobs by 2028. And moreover, the international chain of hotels are increasing their presence in the country, and it will account for nearly 47% share in the tourism and hospitality sector by 2020, and it will move up to 50% by 2022. And as you know, this industry is also affected very worst because battered and bruised by the COVID-19 pandemic. The country's travel and hospitality industry is staring at 5 trillion revenue loss over the next year, while 35 to 40 million jobs, both indirectly and directly, will be lost. The nationwide lockdown has shattered the world, the hotel and travel sectors, clogging their earnings. The distressed industry has sought a bailout package from the ministry to sustain its business in the aftermath of pandemic, because it is very important, because the investment we had in terms of entertainment, that is the tourism is directly related to the what is called the vital or vibrant functioning of the theme parks, and then what is called the entertainment zone, malls and other things. And these and all those things will have a cascading effect. At present, immediately, the 65% of the hotel industry has faced a downfall, and the local business was greatly affected. And we are also having an impact in foreign exchange reserves because of the foreign tourist arrival, and there are also many large-sized tour operators, and in fact, the tourist guides are small income earners both are affected due to this pandemic situation. And the next one is, as I said earlier, the automobile industry is also one of the thriving industry in India. It's a very robust in recent times. The Indian automobile industry is the fourth largest in the world with an annual turnover of 100 billion and employs 32 million people. The two-wheeler industry in India is the largest in the world. India is also the largest tractor manufacturer and the eighth largest commercial vehicle manufacturer in the world. The auto industry, and this is the situation before COVID, and after that, the estimate says that the auto industry has seen the impact of coronavirus crisis evolve from supply shock to the global demand shock. The Boston Consulting Group Automotive and Center for Macroeconomics team forecast that automobile sales most likely to decrease 14 to 22% among China, US and European markets in 2020. Amidst such uncertainty, it is critical that companies take a comprehensive approach and develop a range of scenarios and robust contingency plans to navigate through these turbulent times. And as I said earlier, it is not the one industry that is affected. Because of what the many ancillary industries are dependent on what is called the automobile industry, and these are also relatively most of them are MSME, but there are also large industries dependent on automobile industries. For example, the slow shrink on account of reduced orders, piled up inventories, and an uncertain future. The companies like Rane, Bosch, TVS are all supplier of components to the big industries like Mahindra, Suzuki, and so on. Almost not only to India, and which exist in the industries which exist in Russia, European countries. Then all the components go from Indian MSME. So there is a huge impact created to the automobile sector. And the next one is the financial sector. As you know, as I told earlier, the Indian financial sector is a very strong segment, and it is not shaken by any type of crisis which has happened world over. For example, almost all the countries, even some of the Asian countries, are affected due to the subprime crisis or the financial crisis that happened in the US in the year 2008. But India successfully managed withstand the crisis, and we are less affected because of the regulation and the financial control we had over the market. And because of that, it is a dynamic growth of financial services sector during the post-reform age that helped it in assuming such an important place in Indian economy. Unlike in the past, when financial services sector mainly constituted of banking sector, today financial sector has broadened its reach to include sectors like insurance sectors, banking, financial services, cooperatives, pension funds, mutual funds, capital market, etc. Because before 1991, the main focus was only on the banking sector. But now we have developed a wide range of financial products after the post-reform period. And the impact of COVID is that with the economic activity coming to a standstill due to COVID-19 crisis, total slippages in the banking system may rise up to 5.5 lakh crores in the current fiscal. And the way forward is that the financial institutions are beginning to respond to some of the immediate imperatives to facilitate business community. However, a focused approach that involves a combination of tactical initiatives to address the immediate concerns, strategic interventions to recalibrate business models and drive growth would be crucial for driving profitable growth in the long run. Okay, and as I said earlier, these are all vital. These industries are all important for the economic growth as well as to the contribution of the GDP, and they were doing well in the what is called before the before the COVID-19 period. And and after the emergence of COVID-19, this industries made a big blow. And if you say that if you are able to what is called rectify or repair or revive these industries, will the Indian economy can move out of the grave unemployment situation that is going to be in existence for the next 6 years. 6 years. The 6 years means the answer will be no, because these are the industries that have been affected, and of course they have contributed. But the pillar of India is not the organized. These are all organized sector. The majority of the population depend upon the unorganized sector for their daily business hearing. And if you see throughout any cosmopolitan or semi-urban area, urban area, right from Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, and there will be businessman of this nature. There is a man making shoe polish and making shoes in a small scale, and here is a family doing very micro business ironing, from which they earn their daily lives. And here is a tea seller who make thousands of rupees on a daily basis. And here is a weaver whose life is already is in trouble. And here you can see a seller in the beach who is selling corn. And even not only the automobile industry is dependent, and even this seller, their light is rented to this seller, and every day, and one man at the end of the after 10:30 p.m., if you see in beach, he will hire that lamp and he will collect 50 rupees to 200 rupees per day. So there are many business on a daily basis which come to a standstill, which is very important. And here you can see this picture is from Agra, but in all towns and cities we have a business of this kind. The roadside retailer who is doing a thriving business in all tourist destination. And this is the most vulnerable sections during the COVID lockdown. This is the most vulnerable section during the COVID lockdown, and it is very important whether you bring that organized sector, where they have a huge bargaining power with the government, and these sections have to be taken care of. And I don't know how they are managing their livelihood during this period of time, because in Tamil Nadu there is a relief given in terms of in PDS, that is 1,000 rupees plus some sort of groceries and other essential items. But I don't think that is very negligible for their survival, because one person is working, but we don't know the size of the family and the financial commitment of the family. So it is very important to analyze the problems of this sector. And if you see this video, you can see the India. We can see the India from morning till from dawn to dusk, how many small businessmen are surviving on a daily business. And it is very important to analyze the problems of this sector. And if you see this musicians, you might have seen these musicians daily in TVs. There is no what is called marriages, there is no temple programs going on, and I don't know how the family is surviving for the past 3 years. And if you take the auto drivers in all towns and cities across India, and particularly in Tamil Nadu, they are burdened with paying the uh, EMIs, installment for the vehicle they have purchased. And there is a situation where even the moratorium is given, they have to pay the interest. And there is no relief packages provided for this kind of workers. That is a small cycle repair shop, or a painter who climbs the wall and doing the painting, and the carpenter and a housemaid sweeping the other person's house. And most of the housemaid were asked to stop coming for the work, and they are with no income. And this is the real business situation where the more than 50% of the population is dependent upon, and these are also businesses. And we should think as a business administrative professionals, you should think the survival of India or the GDP of India depends upon their income. Okay. Next, we will move on to some of the common problems that most of the businesses face on the in the event of the COVID situation. The first one is, even if it is a small hotel or a big hotel or a small shop or a big shop, paying rent is a big problem. You see, the government has announced orally that there should be some concession must be given to the tenant. They should not demand or force the tenant to pay the rent. But there is a valid contract entered between the tenant and a landlord. When a tenant goes for a legal action, he has to vacate the house. There is no other way. But in some of the countries like European countries like UK and even in Singapore, they have passed an emergency act saying that those kind of contract entered by the landlord and tenant becomes invalid during the present crisis. But in India, we have not passed any such what is called and what is called the expenditure pattern to a very different level. And I think this kind of entertainment parks and other allied business people, and they will find it very difficult, particularly the restaurant people like pizza and other people. They have a huge problem in bringing back their customers. And the next one is bringing back their employees is also is going to be an equally difficult challenge for the people. And the next one is health and safety of the employees. And as you know, the rules of the games have changed. We have to maintain social distancing, and the what is called the sanitizer has to be put in place, and the employees must be strictly warned regarding the health issues because of the unhygienic condition in which he is going to live at home, and all those things will have a great impact. And finally, the uncertainty that is going to prevail. We don't know how long, even after the people may think once the slowly we are regaining normalcy, slowly the business will grow. But that may or may not be true. There is uncertainty that the forecasted things or the estimated things may not happen in future. So these are some of the recovery challenges that is going to exist for all the business people. And the next interesting some of the study, I think it is not exclusively for India. At the global level, this kind of challenges will emerge in the post COVID-19 period. And the first one is there will be a wealth disparity at a very high accelerated speed. That means there will be inequality in the wealth or inequality in the incomes of the income between the countries or within a nation between regions as a result of COVID-19. It is said that there are chances that disparity of wealth may increase at an accelerated pace. Inequality between nations will grow as the choices of leaders in handling the COVID crisis differ according to the severity of its impact. For example, some of the countries, the leaders have to spend huge sum of money in handling the COVID crisis, and the pandemic will cause differentiation between the countries, and there will be also income disparity within nations as the small businesses face unemployment rise, and those at the bottom of the wealth pyramid suffer disproportionately, as it generally happens during the recession period. And there will be regions of thriving business, and there will be places where the businesses will be starving for investment. And this is there will be a situation like this. There will be a huge wealth disparity after the COVID-19 situation. And the next one is there will be technology disruptions. That means the power and influence of the big technology-driven companies and organizations with platform business models will grow drastically. That means that technology-driven or driven companies will remarkably play a significant and powerful role with interlinked disruptive forces during and in the post-COVID period. The power of big technology-driven companies will gain much in the post-COVID period. Most of the telework, streaming videos, or e-commerce are flowing from only big players, which are reaping huge profits, like as you know, Amazon and other people. And for example, in the past 3 months, Netflix added 16 million new subscribers. Previously, it was having only up to 2019 December, it was having only 8 million altogether. But within 3 months, it added 16 million to that 8 million. That means this kind of technology-driven, or what is called this kind of company, will have a huge chance of gaining. The pandemic is also likely to accelerate the automation of jobs through artificial intelligence and robotics in what is called electronics and other automobile segments, which do not require social distancing. And the next one is the aging population will pose challenges in some sectors, particularly healthcare systems. As you know, aging population pose certain challenges to some sectors. As I said earlier, the pandemic will have a differential effect on distinct age groups. The countries which have a large percentage of population nearing retirement will have more pressure on social security expenditure and on health systems. And this will decline their investment expenditure or public expenditure on growth data. And the next one is many countries without sufficient resources will depend on international funding institutions. For example, during this period, as you know, many countries rush for vaccines, research, and medical supplies. You might use that some of the countries are planning, apart from USA, some of the countries like Brazil and other countries are also going to withdraw the economic cooperation to the international institution because they are spending huge amount of money on health infrastructure, and moreover their contribution is who is considered to be a failure in terms of providing sufficient information as well as infrastructure or resources. So many countries are spending huge amount of money on health sector during this period, and once this COVID is over, the international funding, they will be dependent on international funding agencies. Okay, and the next one is the trust in government, civil society, business, and the institution that make our society work may decline dramatically, especially among those who are in a disadvantaged position like migrant workers. We have seen in news the amount of gruesome and other what is called the pathetic situation the migrant workers all over India has gone through, and that has reduced the trust on the government, and the reduced trust in institutions will also complicate the business crisis, because the people, once the pandemic is over, the people may refuse to abide by the regulation framed by the authorities. So suppose once this pandemic is over, if the government says that go back, or what is called, they use the term reverse migration or something like that, if they want to go, they keep away themselves to go back to their work, even the government force them to do so. So these are some of the challenges for the business. It will affect the business to a large extent in many countries. And the next one, finally, with this I will conclude. The rebuilding the business depends upon our ability to accomplish the essential actions. And I have roughly stated that some of the things. The first, the rebuilding the focus, as the focus is only a negligible percentage is on the individual businessman, and now the government has lot of things to do the rebuild the business. The number one is it has to focus on the repair. The government has to immediately repair the human and economic damage that has caused due to the COVID. They have to what is called pump massive money for repairing the business. They have to they have to do a lot of things. That is, they have to reduce the tax base, and they have to increase the public the public spending and other things. And the next one is rethink. Rethink means, as I said earlier in my speech, the world is not going to be similar in the post-COVID situation. and the people around the world are showing deep and worrisome experience. Business environment in the country will be fundamentally different when we emerge from the pandemic. Every organization need to force themselves to be strategic at the time when they are grappling with the intense crisis and coping with day-to-day emergencies. Rethinking starts with practicalities. Both the government and the business people need to review how to respond to the crisis, and that has to be the second focus. The next one is restart. A large number of organizations have to restart business in the changed world as they have shut down owing to the financial reasons. They require usual steps as any beginning, such as designing the business plan, finding startup capital, establishing supply chain, hiring employees, review the customer experience, and bringing back the old customers and building brand image. Almost it's going to be the restart of the whole business. And the second one is reconfigure. The organization must take systematic rethinking by configuring the business institution. This means the more fundamental is to redesign the organization in the post-COVID period, because we have to redesign. For example, as I said earlier, the what is called the grocery retail that existed in the mall cannot exist after the COVID-19 period. So they have to redesign their business. And finally, there is other one called report. In the midst of the pandemic, there has been a constant search for clarity on what measures individuals should take and how to construct the path forward. In the period of extreme uncertainty and threats, people should feel comfortable about their lives. It will only happen if the people are confident on the information or the report supplied by the government, information regarding the investment regulations, etc. And that's what we call it as a report. And all these things, most of the things is from the government side. And of course, we have to, large industries will work with the government in the post-COVID to restructure or rebuild the business. And as I said earlier, and it is important to take into account the huge number of unorganized sectors who are starving for survival in the at least in the post-pandemic period. And as I said earlier, the real business can be rebuilt only by creating the demand for the products, and not by giving incentives to produce more. That is more important. That is, the citizens have to be empowered, and they have to be given employment, and they have to be given with income to create this demand. Otherwise, we cannot rebuild the business. For that, the government has to make what is called, they have to frame a policy, monitor bank loans at a very cheaper cost with a longer gestation period to repay. Whether it's a small business or a large business, a micro or medium, that doesn't matter. It requires a huge money supply to revive the business. And the second one is, it must be supplemented with the fiscal stimulus. That is, the central government, as we know, we have been criticized for the demonetization as well as the GST, and the business are just limping back. At that point of time, we suffered with this pandemic, and again we went into the deep, and we require some kind of huge fiscal incentives in terms of tax rebate for the business people. There can be tax holidays in the places where there is an extreme poverty and where the people are starving for capital investment. And the government must focus on the most prime important, that is the health sector. The health and education are considered to be in my opinion, they are the eyes of the economy. And those two things, the government must massively focus to rebuild the structure, which is not which is very weak as far as India is concerned. And we have to focus the education system as well as the healthcare systems. And I think in the post-COVID period, the government has a role to play there. And the next one is, and I have completely neglected the agriculture segment and what is called agricultural business or agro-based industries uh, in my in my presentation. As you know, the agricultural business or the agricultural products or essential products or primary products are doing well during this pandemic period. And I think the farmers are doing well during this period. And in the post-pandemic period, the government must focus on making agriculture adjustment. And because now we don't have any water problem or shortage of food or anything like that, and the government must take acute care that it continues in the post-COVID period also. And with this, and these are, I think, very important in rebuilding the business. And we don't have any type of magic to rebuild the economy immediately after the post-COVID period. It will require time, and it will require conscious decisions from the stakeholders and from all sectors of the economy, as well as the government has a huge role to play in rebuilding the business for the for achieving the growth rate in a very short period. And with this, uh, I end my speech, and I wholeheartedly thank all the organizers for giving me an opportunity, and thank you for your patient hearing. And I think I have just exceeded few minutes of time, and I don't know whether you have a Q&A session is there, and if someone give me questions, I can take a few questions before I end this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable session. It is really very useful to the participants. And few questions asked by Dr. Narayanan, professor from Kamaraj Government Arts College, Surandai.
Yes. Yes, madam.
Okay. The first question: what is the status of middle class people post-COVID scenario? And the second question: what are the opportunities for car industry post-COVID scenario? Then the third question: state the reason behind the price cut strategies of FMCGs during lockdown period. And the final question: how far our government 20 lakh crore rupee package will boost our economy? So these are the questions.
I will go one by one. The first question is:
what is the status of middle class people post-COVID scenario?
okay. As you know, as I said earlier, the middle class constitute roughly around only less than 20% of the population. And in this situation, middle class doesn't mean that they get a regular monthly income. There are, for example, here I want to quote the example of railways. In railways, this is the first time in the history of railways the employees are sitting at home for 3 months. In the Indian history, the railway was stopped only for two days, and I read it in some of the books. That is one on on the day before independence in 1901, when some queen died in England. The other one is on the what is called death of Mahatma Gandhi, on the day on which Mahatma Gandhi died. And rest of the, I think even on what is called many strikes have been there, and the railways have been running successfully, and they have no holidays. For the first time in the history, the railways is not working for few months. And one thing is that the other thing is that for the first time in the history, the what is called the train pilots and the staff connected with the station masters are in holiday for a long time, drawing a monthly salary. And this kind of people, like working in public sector undertaking like banks, and actually the government colleges and the other section, they constitute only less than 16%, and rest of the middle class are also engaged in what is called multinational companies like big firms like Tata, Birla, and other firms also, industries also. And this kind of middle class will have an impact. The middle class which are working in the private sector will have an impact, and we don't know about the government sector. And these are the people who are not largely affected in terms of income in the COVID period. And in the post-COVID period also, they won't be affected. They will remain stable over a period. And I think it is only problem for the government to sustain, or what is called to provide salary during the lockdown period without any income. And they also try their best to open the transport or railways at the areas. But overall, the middle class remain comfortable, and they have to help the government in staying safe at home without creating any health cost to the government. That is regarding the middle class. And the second one.
Okay, so thank you, sir. The second question: what are the opportunities for car industry in
Yes.
post-COVID scenario?
Okay. And actually, the automobile industry was, I said the automobile industry is in a disastrous position. We don't know how the things will be in the post-COVID period. But the what is called the corporate houses engaged in the automobile segment are very optimistic about the post-COVID, because there will be a situation, they think, or they estimated there will be a situation because the people will avoid, the so-called middle class and other higher middle class people will avoid traveling in buses and public transports or trains or something like that because of health issues, and they may go in for a mid-size or a cheaper car, or even two-wheeler like that. So they have projected a optimistic view about their industry, but we don't know when this problem will end. And I think that is partly true, because here in Chennai, the people have started using metro. The metro train is full of AC, and the AC is not. AC is one of the closed environment with air condition will spread the disease like that. That many reasons are cited for that. They may avoid public transport and go in for purchase of some low priced automobile. So the luxury, they will stop producing the luxury segment and produce the lower end segment. That is what the automobile segment have forecasted. And the third one, madam.
The third question: state the reason behind the price cut strategies of fast-moving consumer goods during lockdown period.
Okay. Actually, fast-moving consumer goods. Actually, in the COVID period, we divide the product into essential and non-essential. And I think if the product is a non-essential one, for example, the cosmetics comes under fast-moving consumer products, and many other products also are considered to be non-essential, and the price cut is necessary to what is called to make a sales or to increase the sales. and after some period of time, that strategy will not work. And if it continues for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and people are not going to buy the product, only after the pandemic, there will be a situation. For example, once I was listening to a talk given by Kevin Care managing director. He said they have stopped producing the cosmetics like face cream, lipstick, etc., and they have started producing soaps and sanitizers. So that I think those kind of products, the price cut strategy will work for a short period of time, but if the pandemic continues for a long period of time, this price cut will not work. But there is no other way. They will keep on reducing the prices to move the piled up stock or inventories. Next,
The fourth question, sir. How far our government's 20 lakh crore rupee package will boost our economy?
as you know, the 20 lakh crore package has been severely criticized on all quarters. And if you take at the global level, all countries have spent nearly 15 to 20% of the GDP to boost the economy in this pandemic situation. And India has only spent 0.85% of the GDP to boost the business. And I think that is very surely severe short of supply in terms of in many terms, because in terms of population and the business structure, our country is very huge. And when we make a comparison, but that 20 lakh crore itself criticized on many grounds, because the government is providing only a loan which is going to be the additional burden. Here, the people lack only bailout packages, where in the initial I have made a small highlight about the bankruptcies. It is a situation where the people are not able to pay the borrowed money, and the people are what is called the lending institution cannot take any action against them at this current situation. In this situation, the government is liberal in giving loans, and the problem they have to focus. As you know, you might have read many articles. This is not the right way to solve the problem. That is, the government, by giving incentives or loan, by increasing the production or productivity, no one is going to buy the product. It has to think about creating employment, income of the people in the first instance, and then they must focus on the output or the supply side. That should be the right way. And I think the government, as I said in my last thing, the government has to rethink its policies or strategies during this COVID period, and also in the post pandemic period. Otherwise, we cannot come out of the crisis. And that I think that 2 lakh crore is highly insufficient, and it has been criticized. As you know, in the budget they have allocated 35 lakh crore in the 2021, and that 35 lakh crore cannot be spent because of the economy going into the peril. So the government has more resources in its hands that can be channelized for what is called bringing vibration in business. Thank you, madam. Next one.
And thank you, sir. These are the questions. Thank you very much. Now I requested Mr. Janit Hansen to conclude the session.
Good afternoon to all. Thank you is the word used to show our gratitude to others. On behalf of Nanjal Karthale College of Arts and Science, Department of Business Administration, it's my privilege to extend my gratitude to all of you for gracing this occasion and making it a pleasant and successful event. I thank Almighty God for all His blessing. I also wish to express my gratitude to our Secretary, Reverend Father M. Ackerman Michael, for his providing encouragement and support and for giving an opportunity to organize this event. Thank you, Father. We are indeed deeply grateful to our principal, Dr. A. Meenakshi Sundararajan, for his constant help in all the activities of the college. Thank you, sir. We are greatly thankful to our chief guest, Mr. K. J. Prasad, Assistant Professor, Department of Management Studies, Guru Nanak College, Velicheri, for his valuable time in his busy schedule and imparting his words of wisdom. Thank you, sir. Also, I would like to extend a special thank our head of the department, Dr. M. Babima, for arranging this wonderful section. Thank you, ma'am. We take this opportunity to extend our sincere thanks to all the technical supporting staff, Mr. Thomas Robinson, Mr. Ajil Kumar from Computer Science Department for their extensive support to make this section successful. To make this event successful, a lot of effort has been put up by our department staff, who we thank sincerely. A special thank to all the participants who blessed with their presence and took out their valuable time from their busy schedule. At the end, I would like to thank each and everyone who has directly or indirectly contributed to make this event successful. Thank you, everyone. Stay home, stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Once
you.
again, I thank you all for your participation. The feedback link shared in the chat box. Please fill the feedback form and get your certificate. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am.